Let's try and foil some volley players in Tour 7 and 8 of Tennis Clash, a sports game published by Wildlife Studios. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel Gameplay 665 if you like this video. Alright, so we start the series of matches with a tough match versus Escaramucho, aka Joe Cuba. So this is a very versatile player who is very good as a counter puncher and who likes to practice a lot of different styles, and I appreciate a lot those efforts. The players who likes to practice a lot of different styles. I have seen him play with high serve, two strong hands, counter punchers, I have said, which is his preferred style, and the volley. And I don't remember exactly, but I think that I have seen him play with Victoria in the aggressive baseline as well. So he tries to be a complete player in Tennis Clash, and that's very good. I really like watching those players try different styles. We don't see a lot of top players like him try all styles, you know. So I know Fly Jimin, who likes to play counter puncher with Kaito, aggressive baseliner with Victoria. He has one of the most powerful Victoria in the game, along with Fly Robot. And volley, Fly Jimin plays volley very well. At least in high tours, I have seen him excel in that, because he has the weapons to do that. Very, very good volley cards. Oh, right. So the longer the match, obviously, the higher was my chance to win, because the stamina level of my opponent was obviously declining, and that allowed me to make volley smashes more easily, passing shots much more easily too, because his Diana obviously couldn't move as fast as during the first part of the match. So my opponent had to line up with a very high agility and very good volley stat. So in another match versus him, I have seen him use a lineup having 100 of agility and something like 96 or 97 of volley. That was huge, but his stamina was very low, 23, so it was easier than during this one. Oh, right, I was lucky to come back there. This is a match that my opponent couldn't have won much more easily if he had more stamina, I guess. Oh, right, an ex-player. So for this match, I used the Toro Twine, which is quite risky, because this string makes you drain your stamina very, very fast. It has no stamina shield, so it's better to play with the Toro Twine when you use Victoria, so as to trigger the critical much more easily with Victoria's forehand. As for Kaito, well, he has only one strong backhand, which is not really strong, but it's a stronger backhand than the forehand in this lineup, where I use the antioxidants instead of the carbo load. Because, well, when I entered Tour 7, I don't suppose that they are only volleyers, you know, even if, well, there are times in the days where all volleyers have appointment. Yeah, they give appointment to play each other, so there are a lot of them. But now and then you get matched with Kaito players, so if you go into Tour 7 with the carbo load now, after the gameplay recalibration, well, you don't have enough stamina. In a lot of matches, you won't have enough. So it's better to use the antioxidants right now, and a lot of top players are doing that. So as you can see, one of the different things that you can do, well, not here, is to hit very hard down the line shots or cross-court shots towards one of the two corners of the baseline. Of course, you should follow up. So before hitting, it's better to be a bit in the backcourt. Or if you are behind the baseline, well, you should hit hard and then rush to the net to follow up, to anticipate for a drop volley, a soft drop volley. So that's one of the possibilities. One of the other possibilities is, of course, using lobs, like the one you just saw. So to hit lobs, just remind you, in case some of you don't remember or don't know, you just have to draw backward a bit with your finger. You hold your screen, you draw towards your body, and then you release. So the height of your lob and the intensity of your lob will depend on different parameters. The more you draw backward, and the longer will, the longer will be the lob. So don't make it too far, otherwise it will go out. And don't hold it too much before releasing, because the lob will be too slow and it will be quite easy for your opponent volley player to step back and smash it. Okay, now and then I find a Kaito card. This opponent is a very good volleyer, even if he doesn't have a high volley stat. He has a nice diagonal volley. He likes to do that. A soft diagonal volley that can, well, if you don't pay attention enough, can make you commit unforced errors, hitting the net, or, well, the first time you play versus this opponent, you are anticipating other directions for the volley returns. Yeah, while trying to hit hard down the line shots now and then, well, you have to accept the risk of hitting too long. Yeah. Now and then you must recognize the, not a dirty shot, but a too long volley, and let it go, because it will go out of the court. You don't have much time to recognize those shots going out, so only one solution for that is to practice, and you will see it with habits. you will see which kind of balls are going out. Yes, still this soft diagonal drop volley. We really practice this a lot to do that. Well, let's open this points bag. Useless cards. Nothing you can expect better. Crazy ball. A very decent volley player. Well, they are all better than me anyway. But I mean, when I say very decent or good, I just want to make the distinction, the difference with the top volley players who play mostly into 8, Noam, Professor X, Sorab, Core Blue, etc. All those volley players that are much, so much more difficult to beat. It's another category of volley players, really.
3.
The volley players that I feature in this video, well,
1, 3.
they are good, of course, but they're not playing at the same level as the other players yet, the volley players yet. Okay, my opponent was leading very quickly. Generally, when you are led versus a volley player, especially versus those who don't have a lot of stamina, just don't despair, just wait. Your time will come, especially when their stamina level is starting to be lower, and then it will be your time. You will have to seize the opportunity to come back then. By hitting cross-court shots towards the corners, down the line shots, they need to be a minimum strong to annoy. Where if you see that the cross-court don't work, hit down the line shots. And because they have much less stamina than at the beginning of the match, they will trigger the quick catch with much more difficulty. They will be much less agile. They will get to their usual position much later. So they will be much less efficient for everything. They will counter with much more difficulty your hard shots. Yep, lower stamina is really the enemy of volley players. So some of them will pack on a lot of stamina, but then they have a lower volley stat or lower agility. And so this opponent, for instance, has packed on a lot of stamina. But then, as you can see, he has a lower volley stat. So he will be less efficient for his volleys.
Second serve.
This is an opponent that I have faced quite a lot. Into 7 and to 8.
3. Love. Three, 1. Three, 2.
Yeah, you can notice that those matches were played at different moments, on different dates.
Second serve.
And well, in some matches, especially the older matches, I don't use the lobs much. Before the gameplay recalibration, I didn't need to hit a lot of lobs to outplay, to foil the volley players. They're not too good ones.
4,
But
5,
after the gameplay recalibration, due to their higher agility, well, I had to integrate the lobs much more often.
5,
Beforehand, yeah, this kind of down the line shots or cross-court shots or soft cross-court drop shots were enough. After the gameplay recalibration patch, well, was not as easy as before. So Fabio 13, he decided to have more volley stat and a bit less of agility.
net, 1, glove. 2, glove.
So as you can see, you can play in the backcourt
1,
if you know that your volley opponent offense makes volleys returns which are not very long, which are not going a lot towards the baseline.
3,
Some prefer to make drop volleys, and some likes to hit very hard volleys towards the baseline, which is the case of Noam and Professor X
5,
or XD4NX. Well, of course, now and then they diversify with some drop volleys, but most often they would hit hard, very strong volley returns towards the baseline. Yep, I was following up there, but that wasn't enough. Whoops, a fail lob. And I used a quick catch to make a funny volley. And a soft cross-court shot to end the match. So the volley players who don't position their character very well versus those players where you can hit those soft cross-court shots, and that will work. That will not work versus Noam or Professor X or Sorab.
fault. Second serve.
Most of the time. At least I have tried, but
Glove.
they don't work. So versus them, well, I just try to hit hard
2, glove.
or to use the lobs. So with Victoria, well, it's obviously, especially if you take a string having critical shot, tier 2, well, it's much easier to fight versus volleyers, especially the ones who don't have very high volley stat, which is the case of my opponent here.
Second serve.
Last time you saw a match of me versus him into 8, that was a bagel. Here that was almost same thing. Generally speaking, well, the volleyers don't like the two strong hands of Victoria, especially when those two strong hands have critical. They are much harder to counter for them than the two hands of Kaito, of course. Well, you are going to see the lineup that I use the most in those matches, with Kaito using anti-off silence. Well, I hope you enjoy watching me foil some volley players into 7 and 8 of Tennis Clash, a sports game published by Wildlife Studios. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel Gameplays 365 to stay tuned for new videos of Tennis Clash. Thank you a lot for your support, and see you soon in Gameplay 365. Bye-bye.